not just saying that his opinion matters. It's easy to disregard the views of children. After all, they're mere juveniles over whom we correctly have authority. But that would be a mistake. Young people have opinions and feelings too. If you belittle them, you diminish them as a person and reduce the likelihood of them ever cooperating with you in your efforts to educate them. The great scholar Rabbi Meltzer was once asked by a friend to test his son on the Talmud he was learning. And, which is standard. What are you learning? How are you doing in school? The boy gave the wrong answer. So the rabbi kindly explained the correct meaning and asked the boy, "This is how I understood it. Is this what you meant?" The boy repeated the incorrect interpretation. The rabbi keeps trying to gently alert the young boy to the mistake that he's making, but the boy holds fast to his mistake. The rabbi and all those present were becoming irritated by the boy's stubbornness, whereupon Rabbi Meltzer left the room and began pacing the hallway, all the time repeating to himself, as if like reciting a mantra, "Respect for others means children as well. Respect for others means children as well." Having said this to himself more than a dozen times, he returned to the boy and said sweetly, "So tell me again, how do you understand this passage?" What a wonderful thought. Respect for others includes children as well. Rabbi Meltzer's strategy is not only morally superior, it's infinitely more effective. Constantly telling the boy what to think clearly achieves nothing. Paradoxically, discussing the child's mistaken view will sooner get him to change his view than directly pointing out his error. So they say, my friends, it takes a big person to admit a mistake. Putting someone down makes them feel small. Of course, they won't be inclined to acknowledge an error. Show another respect. Even when he or she is wrong, you will be more likely to have them on your side. I suppose in the end, you can call it simple self-interest. Showing respect for others is the surest way to gain their cooperation and support. It is so important to treat people with respect. Arrogance and speaking down to people are some of the ugliest traits. They divide us. Humility and respect are some of the most beautiful traits. Guess what? Hate to say this, but when there is respect and there's humility, wow, that unites us. I know that's a tough word these days. And guess what? When we're united, God's light shines on us. And through us, the light shines to the whole world. Through humility and respect for others, we begin to see the value of everyone and how we're not whole without them. When we are united, we find mission and joy in being on this world. This joy breaks all boundaries, especially the confines of this dark exile. And when it does, Mashiach will be here. May it happen soon. So we have an obligation to treat all human beings with the highest level of respect. Our politeness should spring from an awareness that we're all created in the image of God. Can you imagine? Keep that in mind, my friends. And I want to recognize Mr. Robert Franklin from ABC News, who has joined us on Facebook Live. Today, think of someone you don't treat with respect that you should. The next time you interact with that person, go out of your way to treat him or her with the respect due to someone created in the image of God. I often joke about our shul, Al Chabad of Mineola. Mineola kind of divides itself between north of Old Country Road and south of Old Country Road. Well, on the south side of Old Country Road in Mineola, there are a bunch of courts, right? There's the Supreme Court, and then there's the County Court, all kinds of courts, where a lot of judgment goes on. But north of Old Country Road, highlighted by the Chabad of Mineola, is where tolerance and respect reigns. And I kind of insist on that. Yeah, sorry, I got a problem, my friends. I just like to respect people, and I like to hear other people's opinions. And during the Kiddush, we have men and women speak about all topics. And yesterday we talked about Aretha Franklin and the respect. So, if you want to judge, please do me a favor. Go live on the south side where the courts are. There are a lot of judges over there. Do judgments all day. But if you go a little north, you'll find Al Chabad at 261 Willis Avenue, where we go out of our way to create an environment where we respect, we identify, and we recognize that everybody is created in the image of God. I'm not saying the judges don't on the south side, but the idea of judging other people is not part of my... I try to overcome any of that kind of thing. Although, let's be honest, we're always being judged. We're always judging other people, what they dress, where they go, and what kind of car they go, what zip code they live in. But these are, honestly, all kind of superficial stuff. The depth, of course, is to appreciate every one of us, and with respect. That's I guess the key to recognizing that everybody's created in the image of God. So every person you meet deeply desires to be treated with respect. If you listen carefully, you will hear them saying, "Please consider me an important person. Don't embarrass or insult me. Please listen to me for what I speak and what I say." So if you learn to treat other persons you meet with respect, you will have many friends throughout your life. Upon meeting another person, ask yourself, what can I say to this person to show them respect? When the Almighty made the world, He took into consideration even the smallest of creatures. He did not give life to any being for which provision has not been made in the world. There's room for everybody. The idea that no creature is insignificant for the Almighty's loving concern means that every living thing on earth deserves respect because it bears the stamp of the Almighty. We ought to respect ourselves too, as creatures of the Almighty. Important thing, right? To remember all of that. Most of us have someone that we need to answer to in one way or another, whether it's a supervisor at work, a teacher at school, or a parent at home. There's usually someone in our life that plays an authoritative role. Sometimes these bosses enjoy reminding us constantly of their authority and like to talk down to us. And other times they'll choose to treat us with the utmost respect and kindness. Interestingly, we all find ourselves in the exact same authoritative position countless times throughout the day. There are many people in our lives over whom, if we choose to, we can exercise an enormous amount of dominance and control. We can treat these people most any way we see fit, usually with little or no consequences. For example, this can happen every time you interact with a waitress or store clerk or any hired help. Since these people need to listen to us, we have the potential to treat them with outright rudeness and disrespect. I can't stand that. I love to say thank you to the mailman, to the UPS guy, the guy who comes to paint, and the people who do the landscaping. My friends, there's room for everybody. The reason why you'll sometimes see people acting this way is that they believe it gives their ego a boost to boss someone else around. We all have a desire to, on some level, to be a position in authority, whether it's in business, in politics, or community. So in an unconscious effort to fulfill this desire, some people will simply choose to treat others in a manner that they like to rule over them and act as if they're it. They're it. Now, there's a quick test that you can take to know whether or not you're acting properly towards others. Are you listening? How do you treat people that you don't have to be nice to? You can instantly learn about a person's self-esteem by observing how they treat people to whom they don't have to be nice. Sadly, many people will act one way towards their boss and people they want to impress, but then become demanding or rude when speaking to somebody else. Ironically, it's actually a huge boost to your self-esteem when you treat other people, regardless of who they are, with tremendous respect. This shows that you have a strong self-image, and you don't need to knock someone down in order to feel taller. In fact, the better you can make others feel, the higher your own esteem will soar. It's a law of nature. While you might feel an artificial increase in your self-esteem when others bow down to you, the opposite is true. So start practicing the real golden rule. And let us all treat everyone we meet like pure gold. So again, through humility and respect for others, we begin to see the value of everyone and how we are not whole without them. When we are united, we find joy in our mission. This joy breaks all boundaries, especially the confines of this dark exile. And when it does, my friends, Mashiach will be here. May it happen soon. This is your host, Rabbi Pearl, in these final moments, wishing you this time of the year. It's the month of Elul, the last few shopping days before Rosh Hashanah, to use this month well in every area. It's interesting, we don't have absolute Jewish laws that define how to conduct ourselves. Many of the aspects of this month of Elul in preparation for Rosh Hashanah are kind of left to us. For us to stimulate ourselves, to invigorate ourselves. And amongst those aspects that we find hidden in the name Elul relates to relationships. Relationships, respect for relationships. There's a relationship God has to us that comes to us through the Torah. There's a relationship that we have with God that comes to increasing, being careful about our prayers and making blessings on the foods that we eat and conducting ourselves properly towards the Almighty God. But then there's the third important relationship. My friends, are you ready to listen to this? Out of all the relationships, there's an important one. Perhaps even really the foundation of our relationship with God is that how we relate to others, how we treat others. Are we respectful? Do we appreciate every one of us is created in the image of God? And how we must realize in our own self, we must be respectful of the holiness that we have in ourselves. And the more we are respect to who we are and we have a mission in life, the greater the accomplishments and the blessings that we bring to the entire world. This is your host, Rabbi Pearl. Thank you for joining us. Have an amazing week. Aksiv may be inscribed for a good and sweet new year. Sei gesund.